Glenn, I'm going to come back to you because you were primarily responsible for the design of the beast, I believe, if I'm right. And talk about, I mean, you're basically having to create what, in essence, was one of the more complex characters, I think. So could you talk about how you chose to, what the process was of coming up with the combination of things that made that beast character, and then also later the transformation into Prince, I guess.
Well, that sketchbook that I started keeping in London was really important. One of the first things I started to draw were I would walk past the Regent's Park Zoo to Goodge Street in London, and they had these wolves that would walk back, pacing back and forth, and I just realized I love their back legs, so I started just drawing those, and then they had a mandrill named Boris there. And I went in and was sketching Boris, and Boris turned around and this colorful rear end, and there was this English lady
Wait
standing.
a minute. Well, this is going to a bad place.
Yeah. I remember the English lady standing next to me. Maybe it was you, Angela. I don't know. She said, he's got a rainbow bomb he has. Not to say that Beast, well, you never saw underneath the pants there, but so I found the zoo incredibly helpful, and there was a taxidermy place not far from the studio. And so I asked Don if we could buy a buffalo head, and so we had that on my wall, and then a wild boar head on the wall as well. And there was a sadness to the buffalo head, probably because he was on my wall, you know. And I thought that was a good design. But I also wanted to, there was a gorilla, because Beast has got this like cranium, big cranium, and I wanted to know what it felt like to be Belle face to face with 600-pound Beast. And so I asked if I could go to the zoo, and I asked if I could actually get in the cage with this gorilla. I don't know, do you remember this? Because
Yeah, my expense report looked really weird that week. Bison head. Check.
So I drew this gorilla named Caesar there, who wasn't happy that they wouldn't let me in the cage, actually, because Caesar had done something wrong, and they kept him down below in this dark cage, and it was kind of sad. And I went down there, and you couldn't quite see. It was really dark. And I'm looking, and all you could see were these shiny Beast eyes. And so he was slowly coming out of the dark, and it was exactly like Beast in the movie. And he didn't want me there. And I saw him reach down and grab a handful of gorilla poo. I was like, whoa! And so I got out of there before that happened. But one last really quick thing here. But I didn't know all of this was coming together, and but it's not just the design, it's the voice. And Kirk and Gary had given me a cassette with a whole series of different actors' voices. And they said, just listen to this. We're not going to tell you anything about who did what voice or any of these things, because some of them were names that I would know. So I was just doing dishes that night, listening to this. And, you know, there was a kind of a wild beast, and there was different beast voices. And then there was this conflicted, warm, tender, but deep voice. And it was like I could just, that's it. You recognize that. That was the Beast. And I came back in, I said, it's got to be this one. And you guys said, yeah, well, that's Robby Benson. It's like, wow, that's...
So, Robby, when I was starting in my own show business career as a projectionist, I ran Jeremy. And so from that point on, I was like, who is this guy? So I've been following. But I got to tell you, after, maybe I was prejudiced, but Jeremy is not the guy I expected to be the Beast in Beauty and the Beast. So could you talk about how you got the audition and how you, what was your key and how did you see that character and what do you think it was? I mean, Glenn has told us a little bit, but what were you going for?
I think when I read the sides, I could tell immediately that it wasn't like anything that I had ever gone up for as far as animation. It definitely did read like a Broadway show. And I never thought of the character of Beast as a cartoon. I mean, that's like a bad word. It's not a cartoon, thanks to you. It's like amazing. And, I don't know. I went in for the initial audition and I was kind of shocked because it's Disney. And there were 2 people in the room and there was a Walkman. I thought, wow, that's odd. I mean, we're animation, Disney, voice, a Walkman. And then, because I've always written songs and I've always engineered my own stuff, I looked at the Walkman and thought, okay, so there's 2 things going on here that really could work. One, play it honestly. And I kind of was typecast for the part of the Beast. I'm so sorry, Carla. We've been married 34 years. So the first thing is I wanted to play it honestly, and I knew I could do that. But then, as a sound engineer, I'm looking at this Walkman, and I'm thinking, wow, how many poor guys have walked in here and gone, and then tape, little compression on those little condenser mics. So they're, sounds like, and so I just take the thing and go, Belle, are you happy here with me? And, and if you play it, if you play it from your heart and obviously understand the technology, which I was really lucky, I finally got a job.